Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event.
Hello and welcome everyone watching this live or on demand. I'm Zach from Earmark, and this is Modern Practice Management for Accountants, Tools, Trends, and Tactics. And I'm going to hand this over to your instructor for today, Tim Sines, CPA. Tim, please take it away.
Okay, thanks, Zach. Let me thank everybody for being out here today to participate in the webinar. Appreciate you showing up. I'm Tim Sines. I'm the founder of Mango Practice Management, which is a full practice management solutions for CPAs. I've been a practicing CPA for 36 years. I'm also still actively running my firm, Sines & Associates, which I started back in 1988. And I've also been a software developer for over 38 years. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is the agenda for today. Trends. We're going to talk about trends within the industry. We're going to talk about some tactics, tools that you can do to improve your practice management solution, some of the tools that you might be using. And then we're going to open it up for questions at the end of this webinar. So feel free to submit your questions during the webinar, and we'll open it up at the end and we'll answer any questions that you may have. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the trends in the industry. So what's going on? How are accounting firms being challenged by new client expectations? All the technology shifts that are taking place with cloud-based solutions and integrations and being able to navigate all those different technology changes within the industry. And how can we better manage our staff workflows? So that's becoming more and more of a problem as we have remote and hybrid teams. We have some people working in the office now. We have people working out of the office. We're outsourcing bookkeeping. Many are outsourcing tax returns now. So how do we manage that effectively? How do we have automations? How can we improve some of the processes within the firm for invoicing, getting invoices out to your clients faster, easier? How are you getting paid? Are you utilizing electronic payments to get paid? Are you still receiving checks by mail? Are you utilizing project management to manage your staff, the workflows, due dates, internal due dates? We're going to talk about all these things today. And also client expectations for digital services. Now clients want things streamlined. Just like we want a firm streamlined, clients want things streamlined as well. They want to be able to easily make payments. They want a document management system that they can retrieve their documents securely. They want to be able to upload documents securely. So having the tools in place really facilitate a better practice management solution. And then there's a big shift towards advisory services. How are you dealing with that in your practice? So these are some of the things that we're going to cover today. And what are the common challenges? Many people are using disconnected systems. They're tracking time in one solution, doing invoicing maybe out of a QuickBooks or another solution, doing project management in a third-party solution with no integration. I've talked to a lot of people in the industry daily, weekly, that are still using spreadsheets to manage workflows and due dates and when work is coming into the firm. It's amazing. So some of those challenges are, how can you get it to an all-in-one solution? How can you get it all integrated and working together? And we're going to go through some of those challenges, and I'm going to show you some possible solutions to eliminate some of that fragmentation within your firm. Manual processes. Many people that I talk to are still mailing out invoices. I don't think I've mailed out an invoice in many years now. So I'm going to show you how you can really automate the invoicing process, whether it be batch invoicing, some form of recurring invoicing, and we'll go through that today as well. Entering cash receipts. Are you processing the cash receipts in your firm, or are your clients paying you electronically? We're going to go through that today. Scanning documents versus client uploading documents. So this is a big pet peeve of mine that I've had in my firm. So back in the day, we always got documents dropped off into the firm. They would be mailed in. We would have folders laying all around the office. If we wanted to find a client folder, we had to search in various offices, go through a stack of folders. In today's world, with a modern solution, you can eliminate that. But what's more important is training your clients to kind of go along with the new process. And what I mean by that is I've encouraged clients to upload documents into the portal. I try to get at least 60 to 70% of our clients to upload documents versus dropping those documents off in the office. Now, if they do, we all have clients that drop their documents off. We're not going to be able to eliminate that. But what we do is the receptionist, the person greeting that person coming in the front door, is going to take that folder, that package, we're going to scan it in, and we're going to hand those documents back to the client. So now we have those documents in one place in a folder that we can easily locate. Now, what's nice is for those 60 to 70% of clients that are uploading the documents, they've now done the upload for us. We don't have to scan the documents in. So it's a very streamlined process. It comes down to training your clients. And I know, I have a lot of older clients. They're just not going to upload their documents. So, we have to deal with those that are not capable of uploading documents, but we should all try to move in that direction. Engagement letters, another pet peeve of mine. So in my firm, we did accounting, payroll, and tax. Now I've since spun off my payroll and the accounting business, and we're just mainly a tax and advisory type of a firm now. But engagement letters are very important for, if you're doing bookkeeping and payroll services or whatever, to clearly define what the scope of that engagement is. Good engagement letters create billing opportunities, because many times we're doing things outside the scope of that engagement. If we're effectively tracking that time, that creates a billing and a revenue opportunity. I've used engagement letters if we have a new client that we're onboarding, a new tax client, for example. They bring in 1 or 2 years worth of tax returns. I know we've all been in that situation. We really don't know the client. It's nice to have a payment request on that engagement letter. So I'm going to show you some of the tools of how you can really streamline your engagement letter process. You can request an electronic payment with that engagement letter, which is very nice. When your client receives that engagement letter, they're basically going to review it. They're going to sign it. They're going to enter their payment information, and that payment's going to automatically come into the solution, in this case, Mango Practice Management, and it's going to have a credit on the client account. You go do the work and you can apply the credit. We've onboarded in the past accounting clients, for example, and we mandate that they have to pay us electronically by ACH on a certain day of the month. So we can make that part of the engagement letter, to where part of the acceptance is that they have to enter their payment information. And in Mango, for example, we will set up that recurring invoice. We'll set up the recurring payment schedule, and we have all of that from the client when they've accepted that engagement letter. Very, very nice. Some other manual processes that people I've found are managing projects, and they're not in their practice management solution. It could be a third-party solution. It could be an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to kind of go through those things as well. So moving along, some of the other challenges we face is lack of visibility, and this goes hand in hand with project management. Not, being able to see, what projects or tasks your staff are working on. I'm going to show you a very, very nice tool for being able to manage that, get visibility for the whole firm, for project managers, and for staff. Client bottlenecks. An example, setting expectations. I'll give you an example of what we do. So most of our clients know that we try to turn tax returns, for example, around within 3 to 5 days of it coming into the firm. If we cannot meet that expectation, we let that client know. We may be missing information. Maybe we've got a lot of work that has come in all at one time, and we have to make an adjustment from 5-day turnaround to a 7-day turnaround time. So I think it's very, very nice when you can set these expectations with your clients so that they're not calling you, emailing you the very next day, is my tax return done? 3 days later, they're emailing you, calling you, is my tax return done? So I think it's very, very good to set expectations, but not only for the client, but also for your staff, so that they know what is expected of them to get that return out the door within a specified time frame. And we're going to go through some examples of that as well. And when I say missed deadlines, we all know certain things, whether it's an accounting engagement, you want to deliver it to your client at a certain time of the month. Tax returns have to be done ultimately by a due date or an extension due date. But in my firm, we set up what we call an internal due date or an out date. So that's what I'm calling a missed deadline. So if we get a tax return in and we don't get it out in 5 days, we consider, we're missing our internal deadlines. And this helps you track and work things through your pipeline within your firm, which we're going to go through this as well. And we're all facing, and I talk to a lot of people, labor shortages, staff's getting burnt out, overworked. And as a result of this shortage, a lot of people are outsourcing now because it's just very, very difficult to get qualified labor in, and they really can't get the work done in a reasonable time, which we're going to cover this as well. So what does modern practice management look like? Many people are still using desktop solutions. Some people are using QuickBooks. I think QuickBooks is a great program, but I don't think it's a very good practice management solution. It's great for financial statements reporting. It is cloud-based now. Many of us are still using the desktop. I use both desktop QuickBooks and online, but I manage my practice with a cloud-based practice management solution. And with that, you get integrations, which is going to further streamline things within your organization. With this modern cloud-based solution, you get integrated time and billing. Payments is all integrated. Many people, I'm going to say almost 80% of the people that I talk to that are processing electronic payments are doing it with a third party, and then they have to manually go enter the cash receipts into their solution. It's nice when you can have that integration all built in and your clients are making payments, and those payments are going right into your practice management solution. Due dates and tasks, being able to manage that. So what are some of the disadvantages of not having an integrated solution are this? Think about it. You have to have all your clients set up in your practice management solution. You have to have your clients set up in your project management solution. So if you're using a third party for your engagement letters, your clients are set up over there. So you really have clients that are set up in 3 different locations. It's nice to have all that consolidated into one place where you can maintain all that information. Management and document management. So let's talk about that. So having an integration with that, not using a third party, goes a long way. So for example, if I'm doing a project maybe for some IRS resolution and I want to attach all the IRS notices, correspondence to the IRS to the client, I can now have that all in one practice management solution with document management built in. So if I go to the project, I'm going to have all the documents that are associated with that project linked to that project for visibility. Very, very nice. So real-time team visibility into projects and workflows. I'm going to show you some very good examples of how you can see the high-level overview of the firm, of project management, project managers, I should say, and then your team. What tasks do they have to work on? What is their capacity, for example? And then, of course, we all want robust reporting on operations, how your firm is performing, and efficiencies. So, example, I talk to people that are using QuickBooks. They may or may not be associating time with their invoices. So they're losing some reporting capabilities that they could have. Example, they don't know realization. You know, they most of their clients are fixed fee. We're all moving to fixed fee, but they don't know how much time they're spending on that engagement. And they don't know, did we bill 80% of our billing rate? Did we bill 120% of our billing rate? So having some very good reporting, good time tracking within your firm gives you a lot of insight as to the efficiencies of staff. Are you making or losing money on certain clients? So again, these are all things to think about in managing your practice. Are you getting this information to clearly see what's going on within the firm? I fly occasionally. I have I have friends that have planes, and I used to have a plane. But anyway, the analogy I like to use is you can fly your plane with the instruments, or you can fly your plane with no instruments. And I always prefer to fly with the instruments and know the altitude and have all the information available when I'm flying that plane. And I think it goes hand in hand with your firm. The more information you have and the additional benefits that you get from time tracking and reporting really helps you manage your practice better. So some other things with a modern practice management solution is you want a better client experience. You want to improve the client experience. You want to improve the staff experience. How do you do that? With clients, they prefer to pay electronically. They don't want to write a check, put it in an envelope, and mail it. They prefer to pay electronically. They want points, for example, maybe on their credit card. It's just very, very convenient these days for clients to make electronic payment and even recurring payments. So the monthly type of engagements and clients that they don't want to write a check every month anymore. They prefer just to have it come out automatically on a recurring payment schedule. Now, as far as your staff experience goes, if you have a good modern practice management solution, they're going to enjoy tracking their time. They're going to enjoy seeing their workload, their schedule. It's all going to be visible to your staff. For them, the more organized your staff are, the less friction and the less stress that I've seen that it causes. So we'll go through some examples of that as well. So let's cover some tactics. And I've kind of touched on some of this already. Improve billing and accelerate payments. So these are some of the things that you can do if you're not doing already. Many of you may or may not be employing some of these things within your firm now. But improving invoicing with automations. And what do I mean by that? I've talked about it briefly. So when I had all those monthly accounting engagements, I wanted to streamline it as much as possible. It's hard enough doing the work, but then doing all the invoicing and getting paid, you want to really streamline that process if you can. And the way you can do it is with recurring invoicing. So you can set that recurring invoicing up. You can attach expenses if you want to charge them monthly for a QuickBooks online fee, whatever it might be. You set the template up for your recurring invoice. You can generate 100, 150 invoices with the click of a button and email those out in batch. So that's a very, very good automation. If you want to take it one step further and your clients are willing to agree to scheduled payments, now you can attach a scheduled payment to that recurring invoice. And now that's a complete automation of invoicing in Mango Practice Management. And what that does is Mango will go collect that monthly payment from your client. Upon notification of that collection, we will create the invoice, associate the payment, and even release the time against that fixed fee invoice. So now you can go back and review, what was our billable time? $300. What was our invoice amount? $500. Now you clearly have insight as to your realization for that client, your realization for the staff that's working on that. I'm going to show you some examples of that as well. But these are some of the things that you can do in your firm to really streamline invoicing. This is great for bookkeeping agencies that have a lot of monthly recurring type work. It's fixed fee. You can automate this. I've talked to firms. We actually have a customer of Mango that does 250 recurring invoices every single month, and it's completely automated. And prior to them coming on board with Mango, it was more of a manual process. So they've really automated that. Let's talk about speeding up collections. So, I've been practicing a lot of years. I can go back to the days when I prepared an invoice. I had to mail the invoice. I had to wait for payment. And then when I received the payment, I had to enter it into the system. So now in today's world, we can email those invoices to the client. There's a click to pay button in that invoice. Clients receive it. They click, make a payment. They don't have to log into a portal. If they've entered their payment information before, they don't even have to enter their payment information again. So many people have links on their website for their clients to make a payment. That's fine. But then you have to go manually put the payment back into your solution. In a lot of cases, your client has to enter that payment information every single time. So you want to try to eliminate a lot of that friction, and you want to make it easy for your clients to make a payment. So speeding up the collection process, I'm going to throw a term out there. It's called net zero AR. A lot of people that I talk to at shows, conferences, they are net zero AR. I'm not 100% net zero AR because of some legacy clients, but a lot of people with recurring invoices and recurring payments, they're not waiting for payment. They're not chasing clients for payment. They're getting paid right away. Tax returns. We email out the invoice. Part of the workflow and the project management is the client has to pay that invoice before we will file that tax return. And that's all goes into training or retraining your clients. My clients know through the years that when they receive the invoice, they pay it immediately. So I get an email notification that Jane Doe just made a payment. I go back into the project. I check off that task, and the next person in line is going to do what they need to do to file the tax return or whatever the next steps are. So we should all be working to speed up the collection process. And you can do that by emailing invoices with payment options, offering integrated payments. So again, as I'm going through here, feel free to pop in some questions about, maybe, how you're doing it, suggestions we can share with the group, or any questions of how to implement this. So let's jump into project management. Again, I'm going back many, many years. I'm going back to when, we had to do a lot on ledgers and wrote up journal entries by hand, and kind of kept track of what projects and tax returns you had to work on pretty much in your head. But in today's world, we can really streamline things with project management. And what I mean by that is you can now standardize, templates for projects, for recurring tasks. So example, to do an accounting engagement, you have certain workflows that you want to track within your firm. Who's doing what? Did you receive the work in? What date did you receive the work in? When do you want to get the work out the door? Are you missing information? Do you want to put notes on the project? Do you want to put instructions for your staff on the project? So things like that where you can standardize those templates. For example, an 1120S or a corporation tax return might have a different workflow than an individual tax return. So you can set up these templates at your firm level, and you can clone them or copy them out to your clients and have a standardized workflow for completing those projects that your client or your staff is very familiar with. Automate tasks based on the project and role. So we have dashboards where you can get insight into, what needs to be done, what tasks, manage project due dates and internal due dates. What do I mean by this? So I kind of touched on it briefly. We all have individual tax returns. They're due April 15th. But if you want to track internally, if I receive that work in, say, February 1st, and I want to get it out the door by February 6th, that's an internal due date. That will start showing up on dashboards that, hey, we need to get this tax return done by February 6th. We don't want to wait till April the 15th. We want to start tracking this through. We want visibility into what projects we have in the firm now, what stage they're at, and how can we get this completed as soon as possible, billed, and out the door to the client. So having some, nice software to do that really goes a long way to help you manage that. And I kind of touched on the dashboards with insights into projects and tasks. So again, we're talking on a high level right now, but I'm going to show you some specific examples as we go through this so that you can visually see how this could work for your firm possibly. Optimize the client experience. So we all want to improve the experience that the client has. And engagement letters clearly defines the relationship. Clients like that. They know what the expectation is of the firm, what they're going to do, what services they're going to perform. And in a lot of cases, again, you can attach electronic payments to these engagement letters, which clients like as well. It's a better experience for them to be able to pay electronically versus mailing that check. I also want to, down at the bottom, I'm going to jump down to the bottom, provide better security protocols. A lot of clients are very concerned about that in today's world. And talking about electronic payments, a lot of people don't even realize, but a check in today's world is not secure. I mean, you have your bank routing and your bank account number clearly on the bottom of that check, not secure. Anybody that gets their hands on that check can process an ACH transaction. So that's why the shift is more towards electronic payments. It's actually more secure. Clients actually like that. They don't like mailing checks anymore. I don't know. Again, feel free to share your experiences and with a question or suggestions. If you think that many of your clients now prefer to pay electronically, go ahead and share that if you don't mind. As far as, again, going back to security, I can't tell you how many times clients, when I'm onboarding a new client, some of the questions they ask are about security protocols, about the portal, about uploading documents, how we're storing documents, et cetera. So having all those things into place in a modern practice management solution, where you can tell your clients that, documents that are being uploaded are encrypted, documents at rest are encrypted, they're secure. Being able to share sensitive documents securely, very, very important. We all share tax returns with bankers. People do refis. They need 2 years worth of tax returns. So again, a good client experience is they can log into the portal. They can share the link to those tax returns. They're not literally emailing the PDF as an attachment. They're sharing the link to that document to their banker. The banker receives the email. They click the link and they're redirected to view or download securely that tax return. So we all want to keep those things in mind about security protocols, how to get documents securely, how to share documents securely. And another thing that goes with that, as far as the experience goes, to make eSig easy. Now, we have eSig built into our platform, built into our document management solution. I've used DocuSign through the years, and it's a standalone solution, and all your signed 8879s are in a list. You can put them in folders. It's a manual process. But having signed documents land in a folder that you pre-designate is a big convenience. It's not only convenient for the client, it's very convenient for the firm, because if I'm preparing a 8879 for signatures, KBA, we're all familiar with that. Once the client signs that document, I've already indicated what folder I want that document to land in, signed. So if I need to find or locate a signed 8879, I can go right to the client folder. It's there. So we talked about it, client portals to conveniently and securely share and access documents. That goes to the client experience. It also goes to the firm experience. Being able to get to your documents quickly and easily is very, very nice. And offering electronic payments we talked about. So let's talk about capacity planning for a moment. This is a big thing now in the industry. So, we've all tracked time. We do our invoicing. We want to get paid. We've done our engagement letters, in Word or a PDF document, filling it in, whatever. Again, we're bringing this to one platform. Project management has come on with full steam in the last, many years. Many people are moving towards project management to manage, due dates and workflows. And now budgeting goes hand in hand with capacity planning. So you have to have budgeting in place. So what I mean by that is if I'm doing a tax return, I can set the budget up at the client engagement level. Hey, I'm going to budget so many hours for this engagement. I'm going to budget X amount of revenue. That's fine. Okay. I've got a budget just for the engagement. But if I want to take that a step further, I can go down the totem pole, so to speak, to my project. And now I can put budgets in for that project. I can put budgeted hours, time in for the tasks. Now, what benefits do you get from that? And why would you want to do that? So if I have, 3 staff working on one corporate tax return, or it could be an audit, whatever it might be. You might have, a very big project with many, many workflows. You can budget the time on each of those tasks. And now what's nice is capacity planning. You have a nice little dashboard that I could see what is the capacity based on the budgeted hours for Jane Doe. What's the budgeted capacity for John Doe? Is Jane out sick with COVID? Okay, I can easily move those tasks from Jane to somebody else within the firm that has the capacity to take those tasks and that time to complete those tasks. So capacity planning, we do have some smaller firms that utilize it. A lot of the bigger firms demand it. They want it because they need to manage the capacity of their staff, and they need to be able to visually see the capacity of the staff. And what I mean by visually seeing it is that I could see the capacity of a full week, the workload for a given staff. I could see what they're budgeted for Monday, time-wise, how much time have they budgeted for Tuesday. If I want to move some of that time to a different day or to the following week, it's just drag and drop. So it's very, very easy to manage now capacity of staff. This is a big thing. It's I think it's a trend that's coming within the industry, and a lot of people are starting to use it. And what this does is it does balance the workload, and it prevents workouts. So prevent burnout. So example, a staff person goes in and they can visually see what they need to work on for the day. So it gives them goals. Okay, I need to finish all these things today. If they don't finish it, they can move it. If they have the permissions, obviously there's permissions baked into the platform, but they could move it to the next day. They can manage their capacity if need be. And if, the workload is too much for your staff, you can visually see that. And now it may be time to outsource some work. It may be time to hire a new staff. So capacity planning, I think, is a trend that's coming. A lot of firms are starting to utilize that. Now let's look at some of the tools. We've kind of talked a little bit about the tools in the platform, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. And when I'm talking about tools and in general, I'm kind of throwing things out, just general things that ideas that maybe you can manage your firm more efficiently. With integrated solutions. We've talked about a lot of things. So, and I'm kind of throwing out some examples of what I've done through the years to make things more streamlined within my firm. And just At one point in time, I was up to 7 staff within my firm. We did a lot of things manually back in the day. We actually can do more with less now, less people. But it's just nice with the tools that are out there, just knowing what's out there, investigating these tools and seeing if you can utilize them in your firm to better manage yourself. I mean, we have sole practitioners that use the platform. They use project management to manage their own projects, to manage their own due dates, to keep track of what projects they're missing information on. So even if you're a sole practitioner, all these tools you can utilize. Let's go down through some of the examples. So project and task management with integrated time tracking. So can you start a timer? For example, when you're working on that tax return or when you're reviewing the tax return, having that integration is very, very nice. I could just start a timer right within project management and while I'm working on the task. Does your document management have e-signatures built into it? If it doesn't, it might be something you want to explore. Our document management, it has e-signatures built into it. So as I mentioned, when the client signs the document, it's going to a pre-designated folder. Another feature that we have, and many of you may utilize this as well, and again, feel free to comment. In our document management, we have an email plugin for Outlook or Gmail. I can request documents securely by email. It's right in Outlook. I'm going to draft up the email. Off to the right, I can select the client that I'm requesting the documents from, the folder that I want the documents to go into. And there's some security questions you can optionally throw in there if you want. But basically, when the client receives that email for the document request, they just click the link in the body of the email, drag and drop the documents, and I get notified by email that the client just uploaded the documents. And now I know they're landed in the folder that I wanted them to go into. So I love that feature in our document management system because clients don't have to log into a portal with a password and email. They just click the link in the email and they can easily drag and drop those documents, and then they're in the document management system. I've talked about this. A lot of people are using third-party credit card processors. They have links on their website to accept payment. They might have a machine, a terminal in the office. I don't know. I used to have a terminal in my office. I used to have to get the physical card from the client or get the card digits over the phone and key it into a terminal. Those days are gone. No terminal. If it's integrated into your solution, some examples of integration into a good practice management solution: emailing out invoices, payment link right there. No logging into the portal to make a payment. They just click it. Their information's there for their credit card or bank, and the payment's done. How else could you use electronic payments integrated? Our engagement letters have payments integrated. Statements. Many of you, if you are, chasing clients for payments and they're not paying you and you're sending out statements, we have a payment option in the body of the email. We also have an automation that any client that has an invoice that is outside the terms, they automatically get an email in the middle of the night, or when they wake up in the morning, they're going to have an email with the statement attached. And then the body of that email, there's a click to pay option. They can partially pay or full pay that statement, and that payment goes right into Mango, is applied to the invoices. So very, very nice integrations for payments. You want to make sure you have that in your solution. Time and billing, invoicing automations. We kind of talked about that. Something else I'll throw out there is we have different ways to invoice. You can do one-off invoices, a manual. We have batch invoicing where I can go at the end of the month, go get all my time that's outside the scope of an engagement. So staff's been tracking time. They had to email this to the client, do this for the client, extra things for the client, workers' comp audit, whatever it might be that are outside the scope of the engagement. You might want to go do some batch invoicing, grab all that time in a dashboard, review it, select it, and I could generate 10, 50, 100 invoices with the click of a button. So you want automations with invoicing. We've talked about engagement letters with built-in electronic payments. We've talked about capacity planning. So let's talk about, we kind of hit on it, point solutions versus an all-in-one solution. A lot of people that I talk to want everything in an all-in-one solution. Now they want to get away from an annual fee or a monthly subscription for their engagement letters, for their project management solution. They're paying for many different solutions, and they really want to just bring it into an all-in-one. So, if you're doing a comparison there, the benefits that you're going to get is you're going to have all your clients in one place. You're going to have all your information in one place. And I'm going to show you this in a moment and the benefits that you can see from it of having just an all-in-one solution. So let me go ahead, kind of, recap a lot there. Hopefully it was useful. Feel free, to go ahead and put some questions out there if you have any, but let me just show you a few things here. I'm going to start with the client area. So this is what I call the client 360 view. You have everything in one place. I have all their engagements. Are they hourly or fixed fee? I have the invoice history. I have the time associated with every invoice, right here at my fingertips. I can email invoices quickly from here. I have payment history. So anything that's paid electronically automatically comes in here. You don't have to do the cash receipt. It's automatically going to come in. All your time is in one solution. So now you can see your invested time for a client. You can drill in easily and see that time, the staff, who's doing what. Any contacts, all in one place. The banker, there's the client's employees. I can email from here. Note history, all here. HTML, any tax research, cut and paste it in from the internet, attach documents easily. You can attach documents to notes, have all of this in one place. Email log. Let me go ahead and back up here and grab some data, and I'll show you what you get by having email integrated into the solution. So any emails that go out of Mango, you'll know if they've been delivered, if your clients opened it, and if they've clicked on it to make a payment. And what does it look like for your client? We recap the invoice, and there's that good old click to pay button, and they're just redirected and they can easily make a payment. Projects, we talked about, are you using a third party or do you want the integration? I don't have any open or active projects, but if I want to see the completed projects, I have them all here, one solution. I can go right to that project and look at any notes, whatever I need to. Scheduling, we integrate with Outlook and Google Calendar. So within your firm, you can see any staff person within your firm that had an appointment with that client, all centralized. So all of that comes in with that integration with third-party calendars, all coming into one platform. We talked about budgeting, all your budgets here at the client level, and then to-dos. Now, we like to eliminate paper, and we also like to eliminate the sticky notes. So this is a good place where you can put your sticky notes and prioritize them. Centralized phone calls, receptionists can put phone calls in here, and these can all be color coded. So when staff come in, they can see their phone calls. When they're completed, they can just move it over here to complete it. But now you have a record of all those phone calls. So this just eliminates sticky notes on your desk and your monitor. Some of the other cool things I want to talk about, and it was the invoicing. So, we do the one-off invoicing, very easy to generate your invoices and then, email them quickly out to your client for payment. We talked about recurring invoicing. So let me just jump over here to recurring. Here's some rent invoices as an example. And this has a payment schedule attached to it. So on this date, Mango will go collect the money. Mango will automatically create the invoice on successful collection and associate the payment. So this is really a nice place where you can set up those recurring invoices. if you want recurring payments. I'll show you another cool thing how we've used it in Maryland. We have, I don't know if there's anybody from Maryland on the webinar today, but you're very familiar with the Maryland personal property tax return. It's an annual report. I don't have to create these one by one every year. I can go filter this by the invoice group. I can click a button up here and I can generate, 100, 200, 300 invoices and email all those out to client for payment. These are all wildcards. We do support wildcards month, year. So this will increment. Once I generate this, it will increment the year. So we handle all the incrementing of months and years, and we have that throughout the platform. Batch invoicing. This is where I talked about being able, this is all your WIP and your time, but I just want to go get all my other time. I'm tracking time to an engagement maybe called other. And again, I mentioned a billing opportunity. I want to track all that miscellaneous time. So I have some examples here. So, here's a little bit of revenue for some miscellaneous work, and I could process these invoices. They'll go to invoice review, and then I can email out all of these invoices in batch to the client. So this is a nice dashboard. I could come in here and say, I want to invoice $300 and I'm only going to invoice 100. You can visually see the write up and the write down, and you can drill in and see what that time is for. So again, if I'm showing you these things, how, we do things to kind of stimulate some ideas of, oh yeah, this might be a good way of doing things within our firm. I utilize all these: manual, recurring, batch, retainer. If I want to request a payment up front, the client will receive that retainer invoice. They can pay it electronically, and then the credit will go on the client's account. So invoice review is just simple. This is where you review all your invoices. You can preview them, but when you finalize, it'll either get email, printed, or whatever you want to. Let me pop over here. We're kind of running tight on time. We've got about, 10 minutes or so left. I want to show you project management. Very, very visual, how you can see things going on within your firm. So I happen to be a project manager, or maybe even a billing partner, and now I can see an overview of all my projects. And I don't have anything set due this week, due next week, but any projects that have that internal due date, not 4/15, because maybe I'm in March and I'm not in the week of April 15th, but I want to see what's due this week. And let me show you how this works. I'm going to pop in to just click this project that I'm missing information on. These are the tags. If you hover over them, I can quickly see where we're at on the project. Oh, we've done the review. Somebody needs to do the billing and e-file the tax return. So you can see the workflow very easily. But let me just point out, and here's the end date. When you got it in, you want to get it out in 5 days. That's the due date. So when you go into a project, these are your tags. You can remove them. You can add them easily. They're all customizable. So now you'll get visibility into what accounting engagements you're missing. The merchant statement, you're missing bank statements, you're missing whatever. You can come out here and tag these projects, and you can add a quick note. Okay. And now anybody can come in here and see what's going on with that project. It's centralized. And you can remove and add these tags. But what's nice is I like to know when work has come into the firm, and I like to know we're going to get it out by at least 5 days. But if we're missing information and I want to change this to 10 days, and I want to add a note, and I want to send an email to the client saying that, hey, we've pushed your return out, 10 more days now, or 5 more days. We can't get your return done by our policy because we're missing information. So please get that information to us as soon as possible. Now the expectation is set for your staff, the expectation set for your client, and you can manage this a lot better. So a lot of good things with this project management. I definitely don't have time to talk about all the ways you can use this. You can put notes on. So if you have special instructions for this tax return, you can put those instructions out here, and they will live with this project even when it's completed and it rolls over to the next year. So the person that's coming to do the tax return is going to see there's a yellow note, and they're going to review those instructions. So a lot of useful things. You can attach documents. This does integrate with our document management system. You can have email alerts. There's just all kinds of things that you can do in here. I'm going to go ahead. We have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Zach if we have any questions.
Yeah, great, Tim. We have a few questions that came in. This first one is from Ryan, and he asked, how granular
we're at the Q&A part here right now, and I'm happy to answer any questions or if there was any suggestions that we want to share with the group.
Do you hear me, Tim?
How are we looking there, Zach?
Do you not hear me, Tim?
I hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have a few questions that came in. So we have one from Ryan. He said, how granular should capacity planning get? Do you track at the project level or broader service categories?
It's a good question. So ours is a top down as far as as far as the budget goes. The budget's set up at the engagement level. And then if you want to set that engagement or the project up down at the project level, now you can have budgeted hours at the project level only, or you can go all the way granular down to the task. So what happens is if you have budgeted time down at the task level, it's going to roll up to the project. So maybe I have 5 tasks, 1 hour each. So I have 5 hours allocated for the tasks. I have a total of 5 hours for the budget. And so that'll roll up from the task up to the project level and from the project up to the client engagement level. So you can get as granular as you want on that. It's very flexible.
Great. And then we have a question from Dorothy. I know a lot of tools are starting to add AI. Is that something that Mango does or plans to do?
Absolutely. Good question. So yeah, that is the movement now is AI. So we are just in the process of releasing a client collaboration piece. So that's going to be another big integration of being able to collaborate with your clients. We do have email functionality in there, but being able to bring in external email. So obviously we're going to employ all the tools of drafting emails, AI. We're going to do AI, a lot of AI things in project management. So yes, to answer your question, Dorothy, it is on the roadmap.
Great. A few more. Glenn asked, if we already have a lot of systems in place and we want to consider Mango, what is that transition like?
Good question. So I always like to promote our implementation. I think we have a very, very good implementation team and a very streamlined process. So we bring in clients from whatever solution you're using. We bring clients in, we bring open invoices in, we bring open time in, and we also bring in invoice history. So what that means is our implementation team will work with you. We assist you with that process. It's normally a 1-day cutover. It's not like you're down for many days waiting to get up and running on your new solution. We reconcile the AR and Mango to your AR. We make sure every invoice came forward. We make sure every open time record comes forward. We reconcile that. So our implementation is very, very streamlined. And the nice thing is we can bring in some invoice history. So when you're doing your invoicing in Mango, you can reference, what did I invoice this client last year for their tax return, for example. So you do have some history in there as well.
Perfect. I have a question from Amir. Can you share a strategy that helps firms better manage client communication during busy season?
Good question. Right now in our document management system, we have collaboration on documents like tax returns, for example. And you can have collaboration externally to your client, and you can also have collaboration internally with staff. So there's actually 2 ways to comment, annotate, etc. documents. And now, and also when you're in project management, if you are missing information or you want to send the client something directly out of the project, you can send the email directly out. Now that does not currently land in your sent items in your email client. We are, as I mentioned, we're just in V1 now, version 1 of our client collab piece. So what that's going to do is now you have centralized collaboration with the client. So if I send an email to ABC Inc. and Zach sends an email to ABC Inc., we now have visibility into all email communications with that client. So there's going to be some other things that we're adding. If a client does share documents with you by PDF, you'll be able to drag and drop those documents to a folder in the document management system. And there's going to be some other benefits to bringing that email into the platform. So hopefully that answered your question.
Great. And it looks like we have one final question here from Rebecca. So what's the real downside of having separate tools for time tracking, billing, task, and documents? Is it actually costing us more, or does it kind of depend on the firm?
We found that if you have fragmented solutions, that you're typically paying a fee for each of those platforms. And in most cases, I think you're going to ultimately be paying more than what you would be paying as a per user, for example, in Mango. And if, I welcome anybody to go look at mangopractice.com, the website. We have pricing out there. We have a lot of examples, but in my opinion, in my experience with my firm, is I prefer to have everything in one solution, so that I have visibility into the projects, into the engagement letters. I can see all the engagement letters that went out to clients. If they're the ones that have been sent, I didn't get a chance to show you guys that, but I can see what engagement letters have been sent, what's been signed, etc. I have all of that in one place. I don't have to go to a third party. And like I said, all the clients, the client addresses, client phone numbers is all in one place. All the projects are in one place. Document management's all in one place. So I think there's benefits. There's arguments for and against having an all-in-one, but my preference is to have an all-in-one.
Great. Well, thank you, Tim. That's all the questions I see right now. So again, thanks for our audience for being here. And here's a quick reminder on how you can earn CPE for listening to today's webinar.
Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account. Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.